Hey, what's up, everybody? It is February 21st, 2023, which means we are ready for this week's TNT Tuesday. I know some of you have taken a look at Activity 225 in the ID curriculum. Activity 225 is the CAD design tools. Many of you probably know it from the water heater tube, but there's something really cool at the bottom of that activity. If you take a look, it's going to be called Going Beyond, and this is where students are actually going to be creating some sort of a connection to a transformer, and then they're going to be creating a neon tube using that sweep command or that sweep feature that they just learned about with Fusion 360. We're going to take that today and we're going to take that to a whole new level. We're going to create a PLTW neon using that same sort of process. And this is going to look pretty cool by itself, but where the magic happens is in the rendering environment. That's where it's going to look absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and look for a PLTW logo. Once I find it, I'm just looking for the words alone. I'm just going to go ahead, or the letters alone. I'm going to go ahead and save that image as PLTW logo. I'm going to save that out to my downloads folder. And now what I'm going to do is, and you've probably seen me do this multiple times now if you've been watching, is I'm going to go out to onlineconvert.com. And I've kind of figured out you can take an image and you can create an SVG file from that image just by coming out here and choosing the file. So in our case, it's this PLTW logo. I'm going to say open. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start this. After a couple seconds, you're going to see it's going to give us the chance to download it, and we have our SVG that we want to use. So jumping back here into Fusion, now I can go ahead and get started by creating a sketch. I'm going to pick on this work plane, and I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a reference here. I want this to be a rectangle that's going to be 24 by 36. It's going to be a pretty good size neon. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my SVG, insert from my computer, find the SVG from my downloads, and just say open. Now I can go ahead and center this. I can come out here and scale this up. I'm gonna get this pretty close to my 24 by 36. Okay, and just drop it right in there in that area. I'm gonna go ahead and say okay. And now I'm gonna go ahead and just grab the rectangle pieces and delete them. All right, so if you think about a neon sign, all right, what we're kind of wanting is like a continuous sort of chain of pieces. And if you kind of look at the P, that means we're going to require two different neon lines to make this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and delete out the center part or the middle part of this P, like so. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and now I'm going to take a look at the geometry that we have within this SVG file. Okay, so what we have to remember is that SVGs are not created the same way that we would create a drawing, our own geometry. There's going to be lots of things that are going to catch you like this. Like this bottom end cap is made of two different pieces. Okay, that's going to be no good for us. All right, so we're going to go and repair a lot of that here in just a second. But like I said before, we're going to talk about a start point and then an end point to our neon sign. So the start point is going to be connected to the transformer, okay, and then the end point is going to keep right where it's at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and just draw a baseline all the way across to take my transformer points, down to that edge. So I'm going to come to the end cap here. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to come to the end cap here and I'm going to delete it, and the end cap here and I'm going to delete it. Okay. So once that is done, I can go ahead and draw a line, bring this down to here. I'm going to draw a line from here, bring it down to here, and I'm going to draw a line, bring it down to here. So those are going to be my transformer points. Okay, now with the L, we can see that this continuous edge is going to come in and it's going to run right into it. So I'm just going to come in here and just draw a line. I'm going to trim this and then get rid of that line. So my L is going to fall short, okay, just there. Okay, so now we got to do some repair work on our SVG file. Okay, like I said, these end caps are not going to be very nice to us. All right, especially if we have to come in later to use fillet, we can actually run out of geometry. It can sort of butterfly this and pull it over center. It's not going to be pretty. So I'm going to come in here to our end caps and delete that. All right, this is not enough geometry here, so I'm just going to delete that. Okay, and we have this one here. I'm just going to delete that. So I can draw a line. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep this parallel. And then I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up by just running this straight over and doing a trim. Okay, so we got that. All right, there's enough material there. There's enough there. This is an end cap. We can delete that and we can repair it. Coming back over here, like look at this small little piece. Okay, that would have definitely gotten us. So let's go ahead and repair that. This end cap needs to go. Let's repair that. Okay, and just kind of look at your highlights on all this just to make sure there's enough geometry to do what it is we're wanting to do with the fillet later on. Okay, this end cap needs to go. Okay, we're looking good. Okay, and then we have these end caps here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and repair those. Okay, all right, so we're looking pretty good. All right, so now we can go ahead and start bringing in our fillet. Just gonna come in here, make sure it's a 1/2 inch fillet. We're looking good. And now I'm gonna go ahead to every corner and apply that 0.5 fillet. Okay, so I think we have all of our corners that are rounded. Okay, we're looking pretty good. I don't think I missed any corners. So now I'm going to go ahead, just grab this bottom line. We can delete it. And now we can go ahead and finish our sketch. Look at this in the home view. All right, and that is going to be the path that our profile is going to be following to create our neon sign. So we have to get our profile set up. So I'm going to come out here and create a plane along a path. Me picking this in, making sure this distance is at 1. And now we'll go ahead and say OK. Same thing here. We're going to construct a plane along a path. Pick at the end of this. We're going to make sure that that is 1. And we're going to say OK. And one more time, we're going to construct a plane along a path. And I'm going to pick the end of this. And we're going to say that's going to be at a 0, it looks like. I'm going to say OK. All right, so we have 3 different planes that we can use. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start, create a sketch here. We can see the marker indicating where the end is. I'm just going to draw a circle right there at the end. That needs to be a diameter of 0.5, and we can finish the sketch. Okay, we can start a sketch here. Draw a circle here at the end point. That's going to be a 0.5 for a diameter. We're going to finish the sketch. And finally, one last one here. Let's go ahead and draw our circle. That has a diameter of 0.5, and let's go ahead and finish the sketch. All right, let's see how well our sketches did. Let's go out and do a create and go to sweep. Pick on our profile. Let's go ahead and select our path. I don't think I got a profile on that. Let's do it again. Let's go to sweep. There's our profile, and this is our path. All right, went perfect. Okay, and now if the sketch goes away, let's just go ahead and turn that back on. And let's go to sweep again. So sweep, this is our profile. This is our path. And then let's do a sweep again. This is our profile, and this is our path. Okay, it looks like it worked absolutely perfect. Okay, so if you think about this, this was glass tube, all right, that they actually used to create this. All right, so that means that we're gonna have to go in and hollow this tube out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do before that is I need to actually come out and make sure that the ends are gonna be rounded over because that's what it would look like in real life. So we can create a sketch. I'm gonna pick the end of my neon tube. And you're going to see it's really hard to come in here and pick this top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to track off the center. I'm going to send this all the way through. I know that this is some sloppy bad CAD, but I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch, do our revolve, pick on the profile, select the axis, and pick the axis. And that needs to be 180 degrees in a join. Okay, so that's the end. So on this one, that's my transformer end. This is my neon end. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch here. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and just track off the center, draw my line through. I can finish the sketch, and now I can go ahead and do a revolve of this side, select my axis, pick the axis, and that needs to be a join. It needs to be 180 degree, and we're going to go ahead and join it just like so. So this is my transformer end. This is my neon end. I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch on this face. Might have to kind of rotate this over. Okay, and now we can go ahead, draw a line. Track it off center, send this straight up, send it down, keep it vertical. And now let's go ahead and finish the sketch and let's go ahead and do a revolve of this. Select on my axis. It's going to be a 180 join. And now we can say, okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just shut down that sketch. We're not gonna need it anymore. Okay, so we can see all my caps are here on the end. They're rounded over. Okay, we're looking pretty good. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do now is come in here. This is actually glass tube, so let's go ahead and shell it. So I'm gonna come in here, pick on this face, and I'm gonna say that that's like 0.05, just a thin little piece of glass. We're gonna say okay. And then coming over to here, we're going to do a shell. That's gonna be a 0.05 once again. And then one last time, let's do our shell. Pick on this face, and that's gonna be a 0.05 thickness. All right, so we have that. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. All right, so at this point, we should be looking at three different bodies that we have created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here. I'm going to go ahead and pick on all three of those bodies. I'm going to right click and say create the components from the bodies. So we can see this is our component one. So I'm going to go ahead and call this my P letter. My component number two, that's going to be my L letter. And component number three is going to be my TW letters. Okay, all three of those are done. Okay, the issue is that they are not grounded. So I'm going to come up here to my P letter. I'm going to right click on it and say I want to ground it. Okay, now the thing is not going to be able to move. And then I'm just going to grab all three of these, holding down control. I'm going to right click and say I want that to be a rigid group. I'm going to say okay. Okay, so nothing's going to be able to move. These are components. Okay, we are good to go. All right, so we do have to make these little transformer connections. All right, this can be a little bit confusing according to the activity, but I'm just going to kind of just make this up as I go. I'm going to create a sketch, pick on this face, okay, and I'm going to create this guy. It's going to be a diameter of 1. I'm going to say okay on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish the sketch. I'm going to do an extrude and make sure I grab everything that's going to make up that profile. Okay. And I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to say that's going to be, I don't know, 2 inches, let's say. And I'm going to say that's going to be a new component. Okay. So my new component, I'm just going to call it transformer connection. Okay. It is there. I'm going to right click on this. I can come up here and I can, change the appearance or the physical material on it. I'm just going to go with appearance. Okay. And I'm going to come down to some paint. And I'm going to go to some glossy paint, put some black on it. Okay. That's going to look pretty good. Okay, so that's going to be my transformer connection. All right, and I think it's saying it has to go down to 3/8 or something. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out, go to construct, and I'm going to create an axis that's going to go through a cylinder. So I can pick on this, say okay, and now what I can do is I can construct a plane that's going to be at an angle. So I can pick on this. Okay, I can go ahead and accept it. That's going to work just fine. And now I'm going to create a sketch here. So I'm going to use some project geometry and project this edge through. Okay, and I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to say this needs to be 3/8. So I'm going to say this is 0.375 divided by 2. Okay, I've got that. And I don't know. Let's just go ahead and put a dimension on this so we know how far that is. That's indicating that that's 0.3. I'm going to say that's 0.25. Okay, and now I can go ahead and draw a line from here to here. Okay, and I should have a line from here to here and a line from here to here to connect it all, finish our sketch, and now we can go ahead and do a revolve of this along here. Okay, that needs to be a join. We're going to say okay, and now that is part. Oop, I didn't get the full revolve. Let's go back to that. Edit the feature. That needs to be a full. There we go. Got it. Okay, so we're looking good. Okay, we have that transformer connection. Okay, and I believe that they're saying that we also need to come out and do an extrude of this face, say at least like 0.5 inches. And then what they're also saying is that it also needs to be threaded. So I'm going to say, okay, we're going to create some threading on this face. It's a 3/8 16 UNC, and I want those to be actually modeled threads. And I'm going to say, okay. Okay, so we have our true threads on that. Okay, that black sort of connection. It's going to be for our transformer. All right, so the beautiful thing is the fact that right now, Okay, we have that transform piece built as a component. Now the issue is I never actually connected that. So let's go ahead and use as built joint to connect that transform piece in this. It's going to be a rigid constraint. Let's say okay. And now we can quickly come out here and do a copy. Okay, if we want, we can also do a paste. Okay, and we can paste like two more of those in. And now all we have to do is come out here and do a join. So let's go ahead and make sure this is rigid. We're going to take that transformer connection. We're going to take it right here to the end of this glass tube. We're looking good. Make sure that's a rigid. And then we got one more that we have to do. Oh, looks like we're running into some issues on that one. Okay. But let's just go ahead and finish this up. Might have to go out there and actually decrease the size of that one. Okay, so we got that. All right, so this is a fantastic way we can come out here and actually change this on the fly. We can go back into our sketches here. Let's fix that. Okay, you know what? I made a mistake. That was supposed to be 0.75. We can finish up with our sketch. Come back in and take a look at this. Looks like we're looking pretty good. All right, that would actually work. All right, so we have those transformer connections. All right, we have our glass tube. We're looking pretty good. All right, so this is where the magic is going to happen with all this. All right, so I'm going to come up here, go to my P letter. I'm going to right click on this, go into appearance. Okay. And what you're going to find if you come out and do a search in your libraries, if you type in LED, it's going to give you green, it's going to give you blue and red LEDs. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue LED and I'm just going to drag it on top of my P letter. I'm now going to right click on this, go into edit, go into my advanced. Okay. And what you're going to be seeing is that we have the ability to come in and change how bright it is. And I think I found out that like 80,000, okay, works pretty well with this. So I think I got all my zeros in there. Okay, we can say okay. So we can see that kind of brightened up and almost looks like white, but we can also see that tint of blue. We're looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my next one. So my green LED is going to come in here. I'm going to right click on this, go to edit. Okay, I can go into advanced. And then once again, I'm going to change this one over to 80,000. I'm going to say apply and cancel. Okay, and then my red's going to come onto my last portion here. I'm going to say edit. Okay, and now we're going to change that through advanced. That needs to be 80,000. Okay, we're going to hit apply and cancel out on that. All right, so we have our appearances. We're looking good. All right, we have our entire assembly. So let's go ahead and just save this. I'm going to call this my PLTW neon sign. And now I'm going to switch over into our rendering environment. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, go into my scene settings. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with a darker color for my background. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And then what I'm also going to do is, I'm gonna say okay on that. What I'm also going to do is come down, make sure my ground plane is on, make sure that my reflections are on, and we can see that reflection is coming up from our neon. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just cruise on down here. Focal length right now, that's a 90 millimeter. We're gonna say, let's just go with the traditional 35 millimeter. Okay, we're looking pretty good. And then within my environment library, this is when I can go ahead and drag in the sort of light that I'm looking for. Okay, we can see a good shadow is being cast. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say close on that. And then here's where the fun begins. All right, before we go to render, let's go ahead and take a look at our in-canvas render. Okay, and now what we're going to be seeing is some pretty cool stuff, okay, regarding that neon. We're gonna get that nice glow to it. Okay, and honestly, now I'm looking at this, I'm probably going to go ahead and go into our scene again and actually darken this up a little bit more. I think it's going to give it more of the look that we're looking for. There you go. All right, so we got ourselves an outstanding looking render. Remember, this is just going to be kind of getting started here. All right, if you actually want to render this, come up here to the teapot. And this is when you could go and set this up for mobile, 2048 cloud render, go with the final and go ahead and hit the render. All right. Then what you can also do at this point after that renders, you can get your turntable animation. So this is taking that neon sign sort of project to the next level using SVGs, using sweep and shell. There's a lot of great stuff out there, and the product that you get in the end in this rendering environment is absolutely outstanding. So there you go. I know that's a long one, but that's a really, really great project you can use in your class. I think your kids would have a lot of fun with it. So good luck, and I'll see you next time on TNT Tuesday.